Hey, Trent, what
Anyway,
really makes you mad about the listeners on the podcast, which is what we really got together to talk about today, and we've been BSing because that's what we do. Because
well,
you're my good friend,
I think it was a good intro because we're establishing our age, right?
right?
And that does a few
Okay.
different things. It establishes our level of experience and how many of these times like we've answered these questions or certain questions, not just on the podcast, but as instructors, as NCOs and senior NCOs. And so um, it's not just here. Like I've answered questions, I don't know how many times over the course of my career, right? Like I went from like being a baby that was the annoying person asking questions that I had no like frame of reference for the answers, to like, a couple of rotations later, then people are like, hey man, asking you questions. You're like, I,
Oh,
I
you
don't
seem
even
to
know
know.
why I have the answer to this, but I
Yeah,
do now. Like,
I actually do know. I'm embarrassed to admit that. That's my favorite one is when you see somebody begrudgingly give the answer to the question because it just like how it makes them feel. Like the question comes up in a meeting or a public setting, and that one guy is just like, all right, this is the answer, and I'm positive it's the answer. I know this for a fact. And everybody's like, oh my god, you're a nerd. And that guy just is like, oh god. And I've been that guy. I've just been
yeah.
like, ugh, yeah, I know
Well,
this, and that makes me terrible. Okay,
yeah,
bye.
well, then there's gonna be follow-on questions, and and then half the
Yeah,
audience doesn't even understand the answer that you just
it
gave.
gets way too inside baseball right away. Half the
Yeah,
audience tunes out right away, and the other half doesn't care. They're
and
just like, I just want to get to the logical end of this conversation.
they're like, you said 4 words I've never heard before. You're like, oh my gosh.
You're just bringing up random facts. Those are just words. They're not even real words.
Listen up, college boy. I thought you learned.
Yeah. How about this, college boy? Can you whoop my ass? Can't challenge people to physical combat, Aaron. How many times do we say this?
Yeah,
A
you
bunch.
can. But I think
Yeah, you
I think
can.
the first thing is something that I harp on a lot. Like the one of my least favorite questions is the age thing, right? Like, and I want to like start with the things that are like the least interesting about who you are as a human.
Mhm.
Like your age is one of those things. Like, oh, have you ever seen a 36-year-old, from Maine ever make it through the pipeline? And I'm like,
I'm
what?
gonna I'm gonna pause you so we can put out ROE like what we're doing.
Oh,
Yeah,
sorry.
just so people understand. So Trent and I are gonna have a real conversation. We're just gonna let you in, like we're gonna peel the curtain back, and we're gonna put you in the team room for real, for real. So you're in the trust tree with the nest. Every time you guys DM us, of course, we cannot just like basically bully and harass you for your question, right? We've answered a question a million times, right? Hey, where can I find the Discord link? Right? Like people hit us.
Oh
I don't
my
know how many
goodness.
thousand times I've hit up and just like all I'm doing is copy and paste in the Discord link. I know it by heart at this point, right? But if somebody DMs me and out of good faith, they're just like, hey, I heard you mentioned a Discord link. Can I get it? Of course, I'm not going to respond to them and go, oh, geez, oh, this again here, boy, couldn't find it on your own, huh? It would take so much time to be that negative as opposed to just being like, copy, paste, here you go, thanks, right? But being real, that's not how Trent and I would really talk. Like, we feel some type of way about it. When you ask us, oh, have you seen a 36-year-old from Maine? Have you seen them go through? Okay, what we're going to tell you is like, of course, the age limit is 42. And of course, there's going to be some things you have to do, mobility and durability and whatever. You know what we're thinking? Fuck. This question again, it doesn't matter. This is this question. I hate it. It's a dumb question.
Well, and especially the age thing is it's the questions that say something about your mentality, right? That like immediately you're not seeking these things out on your own. Like you're not, or at least it's from our end. It seems like you're not a self starter. Like you need outside validation to
Well,
even
just
start the process. Like, do you
even to
think you're going to
just
be successful? Like, no one's going to hold your hand. No one's going to be like, man, it's really great to have a 36-year-old in selection. Like, you're the first one that made it. We're going to throw a party.
oh god, it's him, guys. I've heard about him. I heard he's a 37-year-old. It's not the way it goes. And just even to and again, there's layers to this, and it seems weird, but I'm happy to like talk through it for a second. It's not just that you ask the question. It's not just the basis of the question. Am I too old? Whatever. You didn't even logically think it through. If I gave you a negative to that question, have you ever seen a 36-year-old from Maine go through? Nope. And as a matter of fact, I can show you all the data that shows you you're not going to make it through anyway. You might as well give up. Just quit. Don't even apply. I don't even want to see you in the program. What would you do? Would that matter at all? Or you still try it or like whatever? Because there is no right answer. If you would quit because I told you to, I'd be like, well, that's not the type of person that we want. I want somebody that's going to be, in the face of something impossible. I want them to actually go and try, as opposed to just being like, well, isn't our day today, guys? Like, imagine a PJ showing up to a crash site just being like, wow, it looks dangerous, guys. We should probably
Woo.
go. You know, like ORM feels a little high to me. You know what I mean? Like,
I just cleaned my fingernails.
we're downwind already. I've already got the uniform on. It's clean uniform day, whatever. You know, we jest, but you know, we don't want those type of people anyway. So, but on the other side, what if I gave you the positive? I don't want the type of person that needs that positive reinforcement to take the step that's almost worse. You know, that I have to coddle you the entire way. We've totally seen 36-year-olds. You're totally fine. Everything's going to be great. This isn't a sure, you know, it's like a glaring insecurity. And again, it's not the question. It's not, am I too old? It might be an innocent question, but it shows me a bunch of stuff that I'm like, okay, I don't like this for a bunch of reasons. And it's kind of nuanced, but it's like, you didn't logically think through the yeses or the nos. You don't really need me to answer this question. This isn't a me question. This is a you question. Yeah. Are you too old to go through? Are you going to be able to do it as a 37-year-old? It's not my answer. It's your answer.
And do you think that if we knew that there was a portion of the population that had an actual decent selection rate out through the pipeline, like completion rate, like that, we would just advertise that? Like, I wouldn't.
No, all the time. We'd be like,
why would we have a podcast for everybody? You know, like
right? Like, imagine with all this data that we have. I've been part of, you know, multiple studies at this point. I was in and out of the Wizard. Like, I was aware of what was going on with the Wizard and had close friends and, you know, a whole bunch of people in my circle that went through the Wizard in that time. We were rewriting our course as well. So we used a bunch of that data, and we've seen a ton of this stuff going through. If your contention here is that we're just not telling you that there's like, oh, you got to be 17 through 27. That's the sweet spot. If you 17 through 27, outside of that, don't even apply, right? We saw, you know, 17-year-olds that get in and do well, and the sweet spot is this 10 years. You can maybe kind of do it like 28 and older, but you shouldn't really try. You shouldn't bet your life on it. You're telling me if we knew that sort of stuff, it wouldn't already be out there. Like, that's why the age limit is, that's why the age limit is 42.
Right? I could just be like, no, don't do it.
Yeah, no, you can't. I wish there was some sort of thing, if like a questionnaire where I'm just like, oh, okay, what are you? How old are you? 38. Okay, 38. How tall are you? Okay, 6'2". Okay, how much do you weigh? 135 pounds. Do you have a specific thing about you and only you? Okay, came from Great Falls, Minnesota, and then I just put this into a like a gonculator, and then it just gave me yes or no. I wish we could run selection like that. We can't. You got to. It's my favorite analogy about betting, because I'm a Browns fan and the Browns always lose. But the favorite thing that I say is when people talk about us getting blown out, I'm like, hey, well, that's why you got to play the game. Like, you have to actually go do the thing. Like, you can talk all this crap about 36-year-olds or, you know, from this or, you know, maintenance, or I had this problem in my past, yada, yada, yada. None of that matters. Go get selected. If you get selected, tight, whatever. Yeah. But you still have to go. Like, even if you're a home run, you know, 18-year-old water polo underwater hockey champion that also was a JTAC, you know, in a prior life somehow, and just picked up everything. He's a perfect specimen. Like, that guy still has to go to selection, and that guy still might not make it. So I don't know what to tell you, homie.
Yeah, it's like not every like former Green Beret that shows up at our doorstep makes it through, and I'm sure like not every single one of us, if we decided to go become Green Berets, would make it through.
Quit on my indoc team. I had Rangers and MARSOC guys, just like 2 recon guys. We're like, nah, I'm out.
Yeah, I mean, it's just one of those things. It's where you're at in your life. It's your physicality. It's your mentality. It's how you were raised. Like my psych doc couldn't break this down. You know, like they'd be like, I have no idea what makes one of you psychos. It's like, I don't know. It's a weird combination.
There's a magic in the mixing, and we can't figure that out. And believe me, if we did, we would just line it out. Here's what you need to do to prep.
I would have a Ferrari if I could figure that out.
I'd be a billionaire. I think I said it the last time we were talking. I'd be a billionaire already. You know what I mean? Like, if we had figured that out, like, you think that there's some secret sauce where you need to DM me and be like, these guys aren't telling me something. You know what? I'm going to ask. I'm pretty old. Let's see. I don't think these guys are shooting me straight.
Yeah, and for everybody out there, like, just in case you didn't know my attitude about secrets, for the most part, 99% of secrets are stupid.
Like, they're dumb. They're saying they don't need to be secrets.
Secrets are dumb. Like, I'm not hiding anything.
Market 1820. Secrets are dumb. Trent.
I don't
fucking count it.